My name is Michael Vandenbergh, and I'm a professor in the David Daniels Allen Distinguished Chair of Law at Vanderbilt Law School. I'm also the co-director of the Energy, Environment, and Land Use Program and the director of the Climate Change Research Network. My research falls into four basic buckets. The principal bucket is based on a Carnegie Fellowship. I'm serving with funds from the Carnegie Foundation to try to understand how we can bypass climate polarization in the United States. I believe that's one of the fundamental challenges we face as a country, and it affects our democracy as well. The second bucket of work that I do is called the private sector wedge. And what I'm looking at is the various different ways that the private sector is motivated to address climate problems. We know enough now to know that government won't be able to solve the climate problem. So the question is, when are companies, when are universities, when are civic and religious organizations motivated to do more, and how can we get them to do that? And I managed interdisciplinary teams of social scientists and lawyers to try to address those problems. My third bucket is what we sometimes think of as the behavioral wedge. For that, I'm the director of the Climate Change Research Network, which is an informal network of social and behavioral scientists around the world that are thinking about how individual action can contribute a wedge of emissions reductions to solve the greenhouse gas problem or the climate change problem. And then the last bucket is to think about the uptake of electric vehicles. Our team has a major grant from the Audi Cypres Settlement Fund, and we're looking at the human health effects of replacing fossil fuel vehicles with electric vehicles, working with an expert team of respiratory epidemiologists at our medical center. I teach first year property, which is a wonderful chance for new law students to explore the foundations of law, which start with property, and to think more critically about what we know about what actually affects who owns property and how it's transferred. I teach Environmental Law 1, which focuses on public environmental governance. What is the Environmental Protection Agency, and what do other federal and state agencies do when it comes to environmental protection? Then I teach Environmental Law 2, which is a novel class in the US, and what it focuses on is what is the private sector doing on environmental protection? Why is it motivated to protect the environment, and what do lawyers need to know about that? My last class is the Environmental Law and Policy Annual Review. It evaluates the 300 to 500 articles published in the environmental law literature each year to pick out the best 3 to 5 based on their policy recommendations. We then have a conference in Washington, D.C. where students are able to participate and to moderate panels with experts from around the political spectrum and across the spectrum of companies, NGOs, and academics.